Well, let's just go for it,
Yeah, we could. You know what? Let's go
Joey.
for it. See what happens, and if we have to do a repeat or a retake, let's do that too. Let's just jump into it.
Yeah, yeah. We're probably about 25 years older than the average age of Substack users, so we can be forgiven. And we should be admired for even trying to do this. And if my son and daughter are listening and your kids are listening, give a shout out to us for staying with the times, because this is an amazing tool if if it works. And if it doesn't, it becomes a nightmare. So let's get back on track. What we're here to do tonight, Joey
Definitely.
Ragona in uh, suburban Toronto. I'm Liane Wakabayashi in suburban Haifa. We met through Kajabi. Uh, took uh, I took Joey's marketing courses on the Kajabi platform when I was just starting out making courses. And the first thing a newbie does is they make the course and then they go, oh, now it's time to market. Oh, that part. And we treat the marketing like we make the films, or we make a script. We think that it will come in a sequence at the end, but really what Joey is all about is strategically planning for reaching our audience right from the start in really beautiful and heart-centered ways. And I was really impressed by watching those videos. It was because I'm afraid of marketing. I have this
Yeah.
allergy to marketing, and I found the videos very encouraging, uh,
Thank you.
and yeah, and I really also love that you offered a free consultation with you to talk about our issues. And that consultation, 20 minutes became over 2 hours, and you gave your heart and soul to me and left me really thinking in a whole new direction. And that's
Thank you.
what I want to share tonight. That there was one thought that triggered in me this shift in my thinking, and that is about treating our clients as friends. And what I immediately thought about in my life is that my friends are my clients. Of course, I could treat them as clients, but then I thought, is that really a good idea? Is that really the whole point of it? Is to market to our friends and wear them thin? Oh, we have a new product, we have a new
Yeah.
course, we have a new this, that. And they go, okay, I'm your angel friend, but like, can you please find somebody else to serve? There's that aspect of it, and then the other aspect is that we hold back from people who we meet who actually are perfect ideal clients for us, but we say, oh, I'm meeting them in a situation which is not about business and I shouldn't really talk about this. So I'd like to start by asking you, Joey, if you could jump in and talk about this big topic of treating friends as clients, and where do we start?
Yeah, you hit on a couple of big things, and I wanna make it clear that we're not talking about, there's nothing wrong, first of all, with selling a product or something to our friends if they truly need it and want it, but I don't wanna go down the rabbit hole of promoting this as a network marketing thing, when you sign up for selling whatever, cosmetics or something, and then the first thing they tell you is go to your friends and and sign up all those people. And so that's not what I'm talking about. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just not where I live. What I'm talking about is when you look at marketing, uh, most of the people that I speak to, actually all of them, they don't want to market. They're not into market. They're into helping and serving and mission to make a better place for whoever it is that buys from them, from their product, from their service. And so in my mind, it was all about, well, if I'm going to do that, then who do I want in my life to serve? Not just people who can give me money and their checks are going to clear. That doesn't really make anything fulfilling. I guess it would make you happy happy for a little while if you're making some money, but eventually, I found that myself, I was showing up with, working with people that didn't really align with who I was, my morals and all that. And I'm not saying that all of your clients and your customers have to be completely agreeing with you, but imagine a world or a business where everybody that you serve and deal with are like your friends. So if you look at your real friends and you say, "Why do I like these people? Why do I invite them over Saturday night to watch a movie or something?" And there's values, there's characteristics, there's an alignment there. And that's where I went to, what if I could take that idea or that concept or that experience and bring that to business and say, I want to work with these types of people. And so when you put yourself out and you just talk about who you are, your values, and all these things, then those people begin to align with you. It's just like anything else. Like if you are, on political sides, I don't talk about any politicals or religions or anything like that, but let's just put that in the context for a second, that if you're on a political plane and you start talking about something, you're going to get opposites. You're going to get people who just do not agree with you, and they're going to not follow you or whatever it is. And that's the concept of the dream client. The dream client is, here's what I love. I love animals, and I don't want to see an animal suffer. Well, there's people who just don't give a crap, and they're not going to align with me, right? So I care about a lot of other things. So I'm not afraid to put myself out into the world about what I truly value, and that is where the whole relationship starts. I like this guy because he thinks like me, and I agree with that, and I wanna help the world, and I don't and so the dream client is like a best friend who pays you. Did I make sense there?
It does. And what comes to mind is that we can have the same values as our dream client, but they might not be in the income bracket to afford what we want to serve with. So how does that work?
Okay, so that's another area. We can go there simply. Um, This is for mission-driven people, this is the big problem for us because we want to serve as many people as we can. And the pricing comes into play where you said, "Well, they can't afford this." So we end up creating all of these smaller products or lower end products where it begins to burn us out, and this, I'm just speaking from my point of view. So it
Hmm.
begins to burn us out because we're trying to serve all ends of the market. So what I did, maybe 6 years ago or whatever, I shifted my thinking and said, "There are people who are dream clients who can afford a 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000, whatever it is that you're doing on your high end, your high ticket thing, whatever." And if you only focus on those people, you first of all will need less of them. All of your attention, your energy, and goes into serving those higher end clients who can afford that level, which gives you more freedom, which gives you a healthy business because now the profit between, like, if you sell something for $27 and all the other fees and everything else that goes into it, you're left with 3 cents, right? So you don't have a healthy business then. Yes, there's an argument that you can sell tens of thousands of a $27 thing, but I don't know about you, but that takes a lot of energy from me. So I'd rather focus on a smaller amount of people who are at the premium price point so that it gives me more time back. It doesn't deplete my energy. And then all of the other things that I was going to sell, like a $27 or $100 product or whatever, I can now create on my own and give it away and help those people whether they can ever move up to a premium price of what I'm charging or not. And that fulfills my entire ecosystem, whatever you want to call it, of serving as many people as I can, but not worrying about, here's another funnel, here's another product, all these things that I have to take care of. I just take
Joey,
care
I
of.
love that. I love that, and I'd like you to talk about this giving it away, because these are the people who can't afford, as you say, the
Yeah,
pre.
yet.
But you, not yet, but you know that what you've got is so valuable that you want to help these people. So there's this aspect of service in what you're doing. Could you talk about that too, and why why you think it's important to give things away?
It's really what you just said. It's not really a hard concept to really put into play, but our minds get in the way a lot because we're like, "Well, if I give all this stuff away, nobody's gonna buy the higher end," and we get stuck in this area of nobody can afford the higher end thing, and it's just I had to get out of that mindset and understand that there was something beyond where what the circle I was in, which was, well, the biggest thing I can charge is maybe $297 or something. They can only afford that. And once I got out of that, I saw that there was a whole new world of other people who were at a premium level and didn't want all the other lower end products because they just want the magic button. Even though there is no magic button, they want the fastest way to do it, and they're the ones paying for that service. So back to the giving away, then I thought, well, okay, well, if I'm only selling to higher, premium level, then what about all the other people? And that freed me up to not have to create more complexity in my business because I used to have over 100 lead magnets, and I'm not exaggerating here. And I don't know how many products were there, 25 to 50 different products and stuff. And all of them had to be maintained in some way, shape, or form. So, for example, when I was building the funnels um, for one lead magnet, let's say, and I wanted to bring people in, I wanted to monitor where they were coming from, the analytics and all that stuff, right? So just as an example, for one lead magnet, I had at least 4, not if not 5, if not more, different opt-in pages, one for Facebook, one for Substack, right? So all of those had to be
Yeah.
monitored.
Joey,
Where's
for
the
people, sorry, I have to interrupt you because these terms, lead magnets and funnels, opt-in pages, people, if you've been on Kajabi, you know what these terms mean. But if you don't, just break it down for us.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm just using terminology that the industry uses, but a lead magnet is something that you give away for free, and someone goes to a web page and they type in their email address and you give them something for free, and that's called a lead magnet, so you can get them on your email list and start marketing and selling to them. That's basically the way the whole industry works. I don't like to call things lead magnets. What I do is I call them gifts. So I wanna give somebody a gift, and in a lot of, ways, I've even kiboshed that whole idea where people thought I was crazy, like, so y I might give a gift on a web page that has, "I don't want anything from you. Just go here and download it. Just take it." Right? And people will go, "Why would you do that? You're supposed to be building your list." And go, "Well, sometimes, yes, you wanna build your list, and sometimes it's more about giving a gift, and it's kind of like the reciprocity. I'm giving you a gift for free, a PDF or something or whatever, a free download book that I wrote or whatever, and you read it, and you're like, 'This was really nice,' and maybe you follow me." Right? So, that's a whole other area. It's not always about transactional monetization,
so there's a
okay?
there's aspect of trust, and this goes back to the idea of
Yeah.
treating clients like friends. Is that there's something that there is this trust aspect
Yeah.
in what goes on. Could you talk a bit about trust and reciprocity?
For sure. Trust is the biggest thing. You can lose it in a second, but it takes you years to build. So the biggest thing for me is protecting my reputation and my character. I want everybody to understand, my character is the number one thing. And I want to live up to it as and see people know that people know who the person is because there's so much in this world that is so fabricated. There's a lot of mirrors and masks and all this stuff. And I'm not like that, but we're competing against all kinds of other people who are just shysters and con artists and all these other things. So trust is a huge thing. And the way that I want to build trust is to give something that shows them that I care about them more than my bank account. And that's really what it's about. I'm not saying don't make money in your business and all that. We have to, because as mission driven people, we have to make more money than a person who's only about money. And once you realize that, when you're a mission-driven person and you say, "Well, no, I need to make millions of dollars," not because it's for you, it's because it's for the world that you want to help build out or to help support, organizations, whatever it is, charities, but you also have a really good life for yourself. So there's a point, I don't know about anybody else, but there's a point in my world where this is enough money. Like, I don't need any more than this. Like, this is really good. I have a great life. I have maybe a nice car or something, right? But then beyond that, what really do I want? And it's not a limiting mindset. It's not. Like, I used to think that, no, if I only wanna make 200,000 or $250,000, why shouldn't I be making 1,000,000? Am I limiting my mindset? And I was doing that before because I'm not money driven. I'm not that person.
So, Joey,
Eh
let's talk about, as if I, sorry to interrupt, but let's talk about these high ticket clients. And for them, because this is, I think, a very important point, is that for them, time is money and they are short of time, or they need something in a certain window of time, or what other things would make it super valuable for them to pay the higher price to
Yeah.
get the service.
Experience and time. Like, they care more about time than they care about money, and that's, you just hit the nail right on the head. And lower ticket people, not, again, we're not judging humans here. It's just a fact. Like, so when you're looking at a $5,000 offer or a $50 offer, and you're that person, like, wow, that $50 thing, you expect more, first of all, and you care more about money than you care about time. And eventually, you either stay in that zone or you don't. You move. Like, now I care about, how do I protect my time? How do I get it back as fast as possible? So we, as a higher ticket person, a premium person, that's all they want. Get me to the result as fast as possible, even though they know that they need to put in work, but they don't want to put in all the other stuff. Like, they've been through it before. They already know what is the result that I want. And it's not about learning what is a lead magnet, what is, like, there's nothing wrong with that because you have to start somewhere. But then when you get past all of that, those are the people who just tell me the screw to turn that turns on the power. That's all I want. Which screw out of all of these 100 that I have to turn, and then you say, "This is the one." And the only reason you know which is the one is because of all the experience and knowledge and everything that you've built up over your life, which I call life tuition, because you know it. You just go, "Oh, it's that one right there." And they're like, "How did you know that?" But they don't care how you know it. They just go, "Wow, you told me to turn that screw, and the power plant went on.
Joey,
Amazing."
yeah, I want to, sorry again to interrupt, but
Yeah, no, keep
these
interrupting.
ideas are coming in fast and furious. That on your website, it's Strategic Business Academy. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
And you have a lot of testimonials there. And those testimonials build trust so that when people are looking for the high ticket item, they can read through and they can trust you because of these glowing reviews. Can you talk to us a bit about how to get those testimonials? What do you do to really treat them like golden nuggets and put them up on the website as soon as you get them, or encourage people to write them? Well, how does that
Yeah.
work?
I I think that, I mean, there really is no magic to it. I think the first part of it, if you have no tr testimonials or transformations, is getting those transformations first. And this is what, one of the it's just really about helping someone go from A to B, and then saying, "Would you write something that helped you, tell me, like, what helped you so I can help others who are like you when you were at point A. Can you just do that for me?" And they either say yes or no. And it's, I really don't have a more philosophical answer besides just doing the work first and really helping someone transform, and then saying, "Would you be willing to just write something for me?" And my clients do it. And so, but when you're first starting out, one of the biggest mistakes that I see, or I'm not a fan of, is when you are creating a program or something and you bring people in for free, right? And then you say, "In exchange for me giving you this, you give me a testimonial." And I don't believe that is the right way to do it, because did you really transform that person? You're just trading. You're just going, it's a swap. And it's really not true. Now, maybe that one or two of them might be true. I don't know, but most of the stuff, it's about, no, I'm giving you this for free, which is, first of all, a mistake in my mind, because the only way that you validate your product, whether it's high or low, it doesn't matter, is when people actually give you money, right? There's no skin in the game. If you give me a free thing, and I'm going to write you a testimonial, whatever, let me do that for. And it's this layer of falsity that's there. I want truth. And I even tell people, if you watch any of my videos, about Atlas on my site, go watch just go watch one, and you'll see that I talk about what transformed for you, what helped you, but also what was really difficult working with me, what didn't work. Like, I want the world to see that this is not a linear thing, that, "Oh, start with Joey and everything's perfect." No,
What,
there's
what is
problems along
Atlas?
the way.
Sorry, what is our Atlas, Joey?
Sorry?
Tell us what Atlas is.
Atlas is my flagship program that's helping coaches position themselves above the noise to understand, like, what we're talking about here. Who am I? Who do I serve? Like, what's my identity truly? What's my gift? And who are the people that I want to serve? So they get deep into understanding what we're talking about here. Who are the people I want in my life? And what can I do as a as my gift to serve them and make money, make my business healthy? That's what Atlas is. It's not a marketing program. It's more of an identity program to pull out what are you truly here to serve? Like, what's your superpower? And build a product around that with people you love being with. And then everything else emerges from that. The marketing messages and all these other things people talk about. But I start with, I don't really care about your marketing message right now. I care about who are you, first of all, admitting who you are, your quirks, all the things that you think you shouldn't talk about, like my ADHD or that I can't do mathematics in my head and all these quirks and things, right? And putting yourself out there as much as you're willing to put out, which is hard. And once you understand that, and then figuring out what is your true superpower, right? I bet you that anybody listening to this, they're probably 80% of them don't even really know what their true superpower is. They're living on the edge of, well, I've been doing this for a long time and I'm pretty good at it. Maybe that you're good at it, but maybe that's not your superpower. Maybe that's not the thing you should be selling. It's the
Int-
natural thing that uniqueness that makes you you, that is what you sell, and
Say
that's
that.
what
Just say it
Atlas is.
again. That's an important point. Just say it again.
It's the uniqueness of what you do that you don't see as unique, that is what you should be selling, because what is comes easy for you or the things that you overlook, someone's having a really tough time with it. Now, I'll use you as an example. You have a superpower, a gift. What is it?
Uh, I'm the creator of the Genesis cards, and I can can inspire people to become artists who never thought they could.
That's not it.
Ooh, okay.
That's your product. So you're
Ah,
selling your product. Because of that a long
oh,
conversation you and I had, you have a different gift. What is it? You can see something that nobody else sees. Remember, you move them from in a place where hardship was happening, and you can move them to a place of whatever the other side of it is. That's your gift,
yeah. It was self
right?
confidence and trusting intuition.
There it
That's
is.
yeah,
That's what I'm looking for. So that's your natural gift. That's who you are. That goes with you whether you're selling art, whether you're selling carpets, like, it doesn't matter, right? That's your gift. And so if you tap into that and say, "Wow, I can help someone get through anything. And if I show them how to do this, then I'm gonna help people who are in whatever situation." Do you see that? So it's not that you don't stop selling your art thing or whatever, but right away when I asked you, "What is your gift?" You said, "Well, it's the Genesis cards." That's product level. That's like, I'm selling this piece of thing. Just so, like,
yeah,
when people ask me about Atlas, it's not Atlas. It's where I help people identify something deeper than they've never seen before, and saying, "Well, you're trying to sell a product, and the reason your product is not selling is because you're caught in the marketing piece of it. You don't have a marketing problem. You have an identity problem. And once you understand the who you are and be willing to put that out into the world, then dream clients will come to you instead of you chasing them." And that's the concept of Atlas. It's a whole different perspective. It's taking away the funnels, it's taking away all the stuff. So you see what I mean? Is your gift is hidden from you because you do it naturally.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's the way we all are. We all have this gift. that we don't see. Everybody else sees it. Like when people look at me and and I say, well, like I have to see it. I have to listen because they're like, wow, the way you think is just this way, and how you put these things together, or the complexity, you take it all and make it really simple. And I'm like, yeah, so like that's what I do all day long, right? But that's my gift. My gift is okay.
Can we talk a moment about the psychological aspect to being independent, having an independent business, or being a creative person who depends completely for their livelihood on putting out their creativity? There is this psychological component of lacking self confidence, right? That there
Yeah.
and it's validated by not getting clients. It becomes a vicious cycle. So how does the Atlas program break that cycle? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I don't, I'm not sure if we could really just focus on the Atlas program doing that, but there is a component to it, I suppose. And I struggle with this question because I've been an entrepreneur all my life, so I've always had confidence, even though I had no idea how I was gonna get there. And that was the question people ask me all the time, like, "You have this thing, how are you gonna do that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'll figure it out." So I've been so driven all my life. So it's very hard for me to think about the other side of not being confident that I'm gonna make it. Now, I'm trying to think on the logical side. Sorry for my phone. I don't know, it was a for some reason, somebody wants to call me today now. Uh, but on the side on the on the thinking from like a logical point of view, yes, there is a lot of psychological warfare, if you want to call it that, when you get no clients. But I also look at it from if somebody comes to me and they say, I haven't been getting clients, and the reason they're joining Atlas is because they think that my program might be the answer to their marketing problems. And then they figure out, oh wow, I've not really done this deep dream client work. And then they still expect it to be, well, once I do this, then I'll have clients. And one of the biggest things I have a problem with is that no, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is it's probably going to get worse for you, right? Because you're switching everything around. And the only reason you're here is because this other thing hasn't worked. And so you have to give this faith. And that's a hard thing to sell, right? So the way that I look at it is like, well, if this hasn't worked, like when I changed my whole idea or mindset of getting into positivity back in 2007 or whatever. All my life up to 2007, it was like same crap, it's a different day. I was just like everybody else, right? And then I thought, well, if this hasn't worked up to now, then maybe I should try this other thing, which was thinking positivity and reading The Secret and like all this other stuff that I've never looked back. So that's the way I look at it with Atlas. I tell them, look, I can't promise you in 30 days you're going to have clients. You're probably not because your market has been conditioned to how you're showing up right now. However you're marketing, whatever it is, it's not working, all these things. And that has to shift. And that means because you're now focusing on dream clients in a completely different way and you're marketing in a completely different way, you have to let the bingo balls fall, right? They have to sort themselves out. And you're going to lose some of the market and you're going to start to attract. So it's a huge mindset shift for somebody. And so that's why I work with people on that premium level, right? So Atlas is not cheap. It's $4,500. It's not cheap. And the only reason it's there is because if I worked with somebody at a lower level, again, no disrespect to anybody because I know how it is to be there, but at the lower level, they're like, well, I'm giving you $4,500 and I want to make my money back in a month or something, and that's not gonna happen. Whereas someone who's been through funnels and building all these things for years and it's not working, they understand that this is a process, that in it's gonna take 3 months, maybe 6 months to start getting, but they start getting nudges from the universe, and I start to give them those type of confidence, points to look out for. But I go, "The problem is you're not going to see any return on your investment in terms of people clicking and going and buying or liking the new thing that you just said because now you're wearing your heart on your sleeve in a post. That's not going to happen. What I'm telling you is that the reason, and here, okay, so my ADD is going all over the place, but here's how I can prove to them, to any client in Atlas, that it will work, because they came to Atlas the exact same way that I'm telling them it's gonna work, but every single person was different. I say, "So, Leanne, how did you meet me?" And you'll say, "Well, I watched Kajabi, then I got on a call with you, and I started coming into your Facebook group a little bit, and then I started seeing about Atlas, and then I reached out for Atlas, and we had a chat over a few chats, and 3 months later, I bought Atlas, and here I am." I go, "That's your story. Did I force you to buy Atlas? No. Well, then why did you come? Because I listened to you and I started trusting you and I looked at your perspective. All of that was your funnel, right? So when you say, "But Joey, this is not working," and I always can point it back to the person. I go, "Well, Leanne, remember how you came in here? Yeah. Well, then why wouldn't you think it's going to work the same way? Did I ever pressure you? Did I ever reach out? Did I ever do this? Did I ever expect you to do this?" And you're like, "No." I go, "Well, then that's the proof. The proof is you're here because of what Alice did. And what Atlas did for you is different for what it did for Jane and what it did for John. You all came in differently, but you're here because of the way that I'm approaching how you market. Does that make sense? So I can prove it to them just by them being there because they didn't
Joey,
go through a funnel.
let's talk about energetics. You know, there's
Sure.
something that we get a surge of energy when we're excited about creating a new product and we put our mind to it, and we're excited when we talk about it in the beginning. We're excited when people respond and you know, say they love what we do. It gives us energy, and so even when we're not making money from what we do, we continue to do it because we're getting energy, we're getting positivity. Let's talk about that as a kind of fuel for getting us through the difficult times.
Yeah. That is a really great point, and that's another big hard sell because if you don't have a mission, if you're not serving from the heart of like what you truly want to do, you're going to get derailed very quickly. And this is why most people that start online don't even get past the first bumps. When the universe throws it back and said, "Sorry, nobody's buying this," they're out because they were sold something that, "Oh, put this product online and sit back and drink margaritas on the beach and you can make a whole bunch of money." And so most people are not entrepreneurs or they aren't mission driven. They're just like, "Hey, this is a great way to make money and quit my job." Nothing wrong again with making money, but 85% of the market is because they drop out as soon as the it gets tough because they haven't connected to what you just said. They don't have a passion for it. Now, there's a point when the passion is gonna be really tough. Like, you're like, "I've been with this thing for, quite a while and nothing is working." And so those are the people that join my Atlas. Those are the people. Unfortunately, they're at this point of like, "I've tried all of this for so many years. I've lost so many thousands and thousands of dollars." But they're the ones who wanna push through because they're attached emotionally to what they wanna do for the world, not attached to their bank account.
They're mission driven,
Yes,
mission
purpose-driven
driven,
people, period.
purpose driven. And let's talk about, you know, we one of the things that gives us so much joy as mission driven people is sharing what we do with our family and friends. This is just
Yeah,
natural. And they become our advisors, and some become our clients, our supporters, our angel investors, if you want to call it, all of this. And let's talk for a bit about, it's a little bit veering off the topic that we started with, but I think it's very important, Joey, to kind of identify and acknowledge that the people in our lives can get us over the hurdle in certain ways.
yes. Yeah, if you need a circle of people around you that support you, uh, and who understand. It may not necessarily understand. Like in my world, everybody that I speak with understands what entrepreneurship because we're all entrepreneurs. We've all been there. And so we all think that we're aliens in our world. Like nobody gets it. I'm the only one with this. And when
Right.
you have a group of people, advisors, investors, whatever it is, who support you, that's where you go. And that's why it's so important to have coaching or masterminds or anything like that where you can go to lean on, especially when you're having a hard time. And I know this so well because in my 2016 to 19 um, era, there was one mastermind that I had. There was three of us or four of us. I forget. There was four of us that would meet every single week. And toward the end, like 18 around there, like my business was tanking, was doing nothing. And I would show up every week weeping. Like it's like, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with me, this and that. And there was always this encouragement of like, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. And if I didn't have those people, then I probably wouldn't be here today doing what I do. And which is why I try to build my community that way to for my masterminds to say, look, it's not going to be easy, but I'm gonna give you tough love. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm gonna be candid about everything, and it's only out of love. But at the same time, you can come to me and say, I'm just done. I don't know how I can continue going on." And you have the support to say, "We got you. I understand. This is one of those weeks." So, yeah, you totally need that support.
Mm, I'm curious. Does that mastermind group with peter out, or do people move on to other things, or how do you, or do you graduate from them? How does that work?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways of doing that. So, eventually you might if you're in a mastermind group where you're the person that, you're at the top. Like, I don't know how to really pen this, but it's more of,
Leadership
you
facilitator.
yeah, you're just at a level of doing more and more than anybody else in the group, and
Yes.
you're not being pressured or you're not learning from anything else. Not to say that you don't learn, but so that's when you have to move on to another group where you're at the lowest level. Like, holy crap, this guy's doing $1 billion and I'm only doing 100,000. So how do you get to that level? Right. So you need to have that pull from other people to challenge you. So if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're probably in the wrong room. That's all I'm saying. That's when you know you
Mhm.
gotta move on. But then there's the other part. There's I'm not talking about that. Like, we weren't there to learn from each other realistically in the mastermind that I'm talking about, the weekly. It was more of just a support, just to shoot the crap and just say, "Hey, well, here's what's going on," whatever. Maybe teaching each other a couple things here and there, what we're doing. But it became more of a therapy session for me. It was like every day, I'm like every week, "I don't know, I tried this, I tried that." So it was more of a support group than a mastermind, really.
And what happened after 2019? You said talked about this window of difficult years, and then COVID hit, and you don't. For many of us, that was the hard part. But for you, what
Yeah.
happened?
For me, it was being at the right place at the right time, and I was moving and out of that was the moment when, it was 2019 no, it was beginning of 2019 where I stopped in the aggressive marketing thing that I was in, right? So I
Uh-huh.
quit all that in the February of 2019, but at the end of 2019, it was when I was really looking at this whole dream client thing. I'm like, "What's happening? How can I make this something where people would, I could make this into a business, like something that I want to wake up to every single day and love it." And so, and then COVID hit and everything else. And again, I'm so oblivious to what's going on. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? And I only knew really about what thing was in COVID was in February of, or maybe March of 2020, something like that. But as soon as I realized that and the world was kind of shutting down, I had been online and Zoom and all that stuff for many, many years, and realizing that all of these people were coming on board. Like, everybody was coming online starting a business, and I seen a problem. I'm like, "This is great, but this is gonna cause a huge problem even because there's tens of thousands of people now wanting to start this business and being taught this way of running a business that in my mind was not the right way to do it." And so it would flood the market, which it did, of the same thing over and over and over again, the same funnel, the same everything the same. And that was my opportunity to go out and say, "You need to be doing something different if you wanna be able to survive." right? And AI wasn't even in my picture that back then, but,
Yeah.
like, the only way you're gonna stand out amongst all of these other people doing the same sales pages and landing pages and all that stuff is to focus on dream clients, and everybody thought I was nuts. They're like, "What are you talking about? Dream client and and like a friend and all these things." So I positioned so differently that I stood out among all of the noise. So I was in the right place at the right time because I knew everything about online already, all the failures I had, like building, like I was finally at a place in my entire business life where everything landed for me, right? So I could eliminate 80% of the market, not because they were bad people, it's just because they didn't align with what I was trying to teach or to show people that was different. And that's another thing about marketing, which is your whole goal is to say things or show up in a way that repels 80% of the market. Not because you're just doing it in a way like, "Oh, here's what I'm gonna do." No, it's because this is truly what I think. This is truly who I am, right? I don't change, and 80% of the market is not gonna agree with me or not gonna like me or they don't feel my energy. I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." So I
Joey,
was in the right place at the right time.
that is such an important point because I think most of us new I call up me newbies, even though I've been doing it 26 years and I have a master's degree in arts administration from Columbia. I'm still a newbie in my mindset because I haven't grasped this point. What you're saying is don't try to be nice and appeal to everybody, right? This is what niche marketing really is about. Maybe you could say a few words about another technical industry term, but let's use it anyway because I think it's important to say we don't want everybody to come to us.
No. No, because when you have a market, like, so niching is or niching, however you pronounce the word, is a very specific group of people, individuals. Kinda like when you're in high school and you're in the clique, you're at the cool table or you're not at the cool table, whatever. Like, you're in this kinda group or your best friends or your best friends. So, niche marketing is more of, in the way that I do it is, this is who I am. I'm not gonna pretend to be anybody else. And you either like me or you don't, and I'm cool with it. Like, I no qualms about it. So the more you show about who you are, you're actually niching. You're actually niche marketing by saying, "Oh, well, he doesn't follow that, or he doesn't talk about that stuff, or he doesn't agree with this, and I don't like that." Fine. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything else. On the other side, where you are trying to scale as much as possible, you're like, "Okay, I really don't wanna make anybody mad. I wanna stay in the middle, the mediocrity. I wanna just like, if I go over here a little bit, it's gonna turn off these other people. So, no, I'm not gonna really say that." I'm not afraid to say anything. I'm not and I don't expect anybody to totally agree with me at all. Even my dream clients sometimes don't agree with what I say, but they agree with 80%, which is a huge percentage of the 20% that they may not really agree with. Right? So we can't imagine that, no, you gotta agree with a this is not a cult. You don't have to totally agree with everything that I say. I want some pushback, but most of the things I say, you're like, "Yeah, I totally get that, Joey." And maybe they'll switch me, maybe I'll say something. So I'm getting on a tangent, but the whole point is the niche or the niche is about how do I show up in the world so that the people that work with me are more than likely aligned with what I talk about and what I do. So that means I don't have to change who I am. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to lie for and remember what lie did I tell in order to keep everybody happy. I just go out into the world and become and just be me. Not become, just here's who I am. And so many people have trouble with this because they're not used to it. They're not used to, like, well, I can't tell people about my financial trouble or my business isn't doing so well. It's all got to be good. I'm like, that's totally up to you. But for me, if somebody says, "How's the business doing?" I'm going, "Well, we had a flat year this time. This is the reason why." Or, "I totally messed up on this. I tried this product and here's how I completely screwed this up." And whatever it is. So it's not marketing, it's more of a friendship. Like if you and I, we got on, we sat down and we say, "So how's it going, Joey?" And we just talked and we actually recorded it pretending, that would be marketing. Because I'm telling you the truth. I'm not trying to pretend anything. I'm like, here's what's really going on.
Joey, there's a term in marketing that comes up a lot, and it's about pain points.
Yeah, yeah.
people are willing to pay big money to have their pain points taken away, their problems solved. What do you think about that? I mean, does is that necessary, do you think?
I think there's an argument for it. I have always been a pain marketer, I think, uh, but gently but taking pain and not making people feel like a victim of the pain. So identifying a pain, but also saying, but tapping into their desire. And that's one thing that most people do not understand. First of all, they don't understand what is the true desire of their market. They understand the pain and they might understand the problem, but they don't understand the desire that is in between it, right? So I'll give you a very simple example of desire. So let's say that you take your little daughter to the cookie store, right? And
Mhm.
they walk in and they see a cookie and they go, "I want that." Right? There's no marketing involved, right? The owner didn't have any special on what the cookie was, or it's $2 off or whatever. The kid just wants the
Mhm.
cookie. They're desiring the cookie, period. That's desire. And so there's no rhyme or reason of like, why do you want that? What do you, no, give me the cookie. Right? So that's the piece we're missing. We don't understand what it is. So in other words, if the kid walks in and say and is hungry, that's a problem. That's the pain, right? But when they walk in, they're just like, I want the cookie. That's the desire. Does that make sense?
It does. Joey, we're going to have to wrap up now. It's been an amazing session with you,
Thank you.
and I'd, I'd love to continue the conversation. It's really valuable. You've given us a lot to think about, and thank you for sharing deeply
Thank you.
from your own life story. It's been great. If you go to YouTube and look up Joey Ragona, there's million gazillion videos, instructional videos to watch. And if you want to know more about my course, you could see it on Kajabi. It's become the artist in residence of your own neighborhood. And I offer a free download of my Genesis cards. And if you write to me, I'll be happy to send it to you so you could uh, get acquainted with how to use uh, art for intuitive development and being in alignment with your own passions and life mission. Thank you. It's been amazing having you here. This is our first time. We did it. It wasn't easy, but we got it going. And
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. It was amazing. If you ever want to do it again, I'll make sure that my audio works so we don't waste 10 minutes of me trying to figure out how to listen to you. Thank you. I
thank
just
you.
love talking about this, and thank you for the opportunity to share with all of your amazing people and the listeners here. So I'm so, so grateful.
Okay. All the best. Bye for
Thank
now.
you. Bye.